Hello and welcome to another episode of the Odyssey Podcast, where we explore the journeys of people through life and business. I'm your host, Jeremy Mullally. This week's guest is a man by the name of Richard Collins from the Physique Code. Richard is a well-respected trainer here in the Perth fitness community, and he's got a rather unique philosophy behind his business, which sets him apart from some of the other local gyms. And he's here to talk with us today. Hello and welcome to the Odyssey Podcast. Today I'm here with Richard Collins, who's the co-owner of the Physique Code. Appreciate you coming in, Richard.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, I mean, especially you trekked all the way down from south of the river.
Yeah,
so
I felt like I had to bring my passport.
Yeah, so I do appreciate you coming. I got this terrible habit of actually inviting people that live so far away. One of my guests, she lived up in the hills, so...
oh, yeah, that's a minute away, isn't it?
Yeah. But anyway, so let's get into it. I mean, I want you to tell us a little bit about the Physique Code. So, as a business, it had a very natural evolution to bringing it where it is today. Tell us a bit about the birth of the business and how it's grown over the years.
Yeah, so basically my background is in training, so not nutrition. And my co-owner, Alice Cousins, her background is in nutrition. So both of us were separate trainers, and then we were always good friends. And then we found that, I was enjoying the training side of things more, and Alice was enjoying the nutrition side of things more. So we ended up just having a few clients where we'd always help each other out, and, we'd give each other advice on nutrition and training and things. And then we had a few clients that we actually just worked with together. And we found that the results that we were getting were much, much better when she was focusing on the nutrition and I was focusing on the training. And it kind of just evolutionized from there. So, we ended up taking a few more clients on here or there, and we saw something that was working really well. So we grabbed an ABN and we sort of just combined our two businesses. And then it's just blasted off since then. So it's been a crazy ride for the last 3 years.
Yeah, so like you sort of combine your two strengths, like you on the training side and her on the nutrition side, and just merge together.
Yeah, so it's really cool. It's just sort of, I handle all of the training side of things, and Alice handled all of the nutrition sides of things. And then, we'd come together, we'd collaborate, and we'd speak and we'd chat and say, maybe we should do this or maybe we should do that with the client. And we ended up just both focusing on what we love doing and our strengths. And I think it reflects in the work, because the client results, as I said before, we're getting much, much, much better. So, it's sort of just, as I said, just taking off from there.
Yeah. So when did you actually first decide to launch the Physique Code?
It would have been just under 3 years ago now. So I've been a trainer for 12 years now. Alice has been a trainer for 8 or 9. We were both doing things separately, but about 3 years ago, just shy of 3 years ago, we decided to officially open the Physique Code.
Right. So and by that, do you actually mean opening up your own gym? Is that...
No. We actually worked... we worked at a commercial gym. And... Alice had an office at the gym she was working at, and I was obviously working as a trainer on the floor. So for about just over a year, we had clients, would go see Alice when they needed nutrition advice. So that was usually once a fortnight, and then they would come to me for either just the training programs or the personal training or whatever the client was doing with our business at the time. So we were doing that for about a year, and it got to a point where we had too many clients, and we needed to bring trainers on, and it was getting more and more expensive, because obviously you have to pay rent for the trainers. Sure, so we sort of just looked at the financials of it and said it probably would be cheaper, instead of all of us paying rent at a separate gym, to just combine everything under one roof, then just pay the one rent. So yeah. It was about just over a year, I'd say, before we decided to make that move, and I'm glad we did, because it's paid off dividends for us, and it's everything. The systems are all much easier now, and clients aren't. It's a one-stop shop. Clients aren't having to drive to one place and then have to drive to another place to get all their services. So
just under the one house.
Yeah. Now it is. Yeah. It's much, much easier.
Yeah, sure. When I first spoke to you, one of the things I really found interesting is your sort of philosophy behind how your business operates, and it's really quite different from others in your industry. Could you just explain a bit what that philosophy is and how you came to have that thinking behind that?
Yeah, so when we run ours, when we first started, Alice and I basically had said that, we don't want to lose our core values of what we've wanted to do as a trainer from day one. So we want to provide the best results that we can. And the way we've structured the business, that's all we will do. So that's the number one focus. So anything that we do, any package that we sell, anything that comes from the Physique Code, if it's not going to produce results that we're proud of, that we think people want, we think people need, then we just won't do it at all. So we keep our packaging quite straightforward and quite structured. Everything that we do, we have 120% confidence that it works. So, we don't tend to go out into too many different avenues of things, and we just sort of say, this is what we do. We only do these things because we know they work. And then, we've shown for years now, time after time, that it does work. So we sort of just stick to what we do best.
So did you develop a system and you sort of nailed it down, and you still stick with the same system that you've been using for what, three or so years?
Yeah, I mean, I think as the business grew, though, we had to change it a little bit. Just with our initial system would work with 40 or 50 clients, but while we've had hundreds coming through the doors now, it's had to adapt a little bit just for the sheer number of people that we have coming through. But so basically the rundown of what we actually do is we have a package called consulting. We have a package called consulting with personal training. So the consulting package is basically the client will come in, we will measure them, go through their training history, go through their diet history. We'll sit down, we'll create a diet for them, we'll create a training program for them based off of, how many days a week they train and, what foods they like and all that. And then every 2 weeks they'll come back in, and then we'll remeasure them, and then we'll ask them, do you need any changes? Is there anything that's tough to stick to? And, just sort of go through how they've been for the previous fortnight. And if they have gotten the results that we want, then we'll continue it on with how it is. If there's things that we think need to be updated, then we'll update it, explain to them why we're doing everything, and then they'll go do it for a fortnight, and then they'll come back again. So we sort of keep really, really close track and make sure that, everything's always changing as the client's changing. So as their body's changing, we need to change the diet. We need to change the training as they get stronger and things like that. So that's the consulting package. Now, the consulting with personal training package is the identical package. It's just got personal training sessions involved. So we will write the program like we always do, and then if they do the personal training, they'll come in, and whichever day they're up to, we'll take them through and push them, motivate them.
Yeah. So like you sort of have someone holding them accountable to that program.
Or it's also quite good for people that we feel like it ticks all boxes, because if people come in that we train a lot of the higher end sort of fitness and bodybuilding magazine sort of people. So a lot of them know how to train. They just need basically to be told, you need to do A, B, and C, and we're going to get you to this result. So the consulting package works phenomenal for them. Mm-hmm. Whereas you have other people that'll come in that maybe have never been to the gym before, or aren't 100% confident in the gym. And that's when we use the personal training sessions to them to, teach them exercises, just keep an eye on them, keep them motivated and things like that. So we feel like the two packages actually just tick all boxes for different types of clientele. So it works really, really well.
Yeah. So, do you have them sort of set the goals for themselves then? And so it's not like you come in and say, everyone's got to meet these targets, but you actually tailor it to what they want to actually achieve.
Absolutely. I mean, and you'll find that clients come in and have completely different goals. So our business does body composition. So the way we say it is we try to make people look better. That's, what we solely try to focus on. So, when they come in, it might be for a bodybuilding contest. It might be lifestyle. It might be they want to do a photo shoot. It might be a wedding. It could be absolutely anything. So basically, they come in, they'll tell us what they want to do. And then, we'll have sort of, we'll do things a little bit differently based on what their goal is, how much time they have, and things like that. So we'll find that, some people come in and we can not take it casually, but we can, sort of take it a little bit slower. They just want to have a lifestyle, so we can make sure the results are maintained for a lifetime. And we have other people that come in that have a specific day where they have, I want to look my best on this day. And then obviously the structure of how we will train them will be a little bit different than somebody that's just coming in just for a lifestyle.
Yeah. So I mean, your sort of base is physique, obviously from the name, but do you sort of branch out a bit more into other areas of like fitness?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we have the trainers that we have are all do body composition, but each trainer actually has their sort of area specialty that'll be a little bit better. So we may have somebody that comes in that says, I want to get really, really strong. So we'll set the diet to help them get stronger. And then we have a trainer, Stacy, who's the under 53 kilo Australian powerlifting champion at the moment. She's actually competing next Friday, so good luck to her. Wow. But yeah, and she's going to be much better than the other trainers at it. So people that come in with those goals will generally give to her. And then we'll have another trainer, sort of Will Grant, who works. He studies sports science. He's quite good with training people for specific sports. So if somebody comes in with that goal, we'll set the diet for that, and we will get Will to train them because he will be able to provide the best service for the client. But in saying that, sort of 90% of the clientele that come to our gym come for body composition goals. So trying to look better. Yeah.
So, like you said, you've got a lot of trainers underneath you. What's sort of the methodology behind how you actually train them up to meet the standards of what you want to actually give out to your clients?
Yeah, I think a key to it is education. I will be the first one to say is we are extremely lucky that the trainers that we've had have all come from university degree backgrounds. So, they come in with an amazing, scope of knowledge already. Yeah. So, but I mean, we host seminars at the gym. We have, we run podcasts with, some of the top trainers in the world. And we're still quite big on education. So we make sure that the trainers are pointing in the right direction of learning the things that are going to be relevant to our business. Or if a trainer comes in and says, so every Thursday we for example, we'll sit down and speak about every client that every trainer has. And, if they have questions about it, then, it's good that we all have an open mind and say, maybe try doing this or maybe try doing that with them, or, and that'll be anything from goal setting to diet, to training, to anything like that. So it's almost everybody comes in with their expertise, and it's good that we're able to sit down and we all have sort of like a fresh pair of eyes to try to help out with each other. So it works really, really well because, the staff end up, learning a lot more practically.
Actually being on the ground.
Yeah. Which I think is experience is, education is good. Experience to me is going to be better. So if you have the broad education, which we like to do, obviously with, we sending trainers to seminars and things like that. And then being able to practically apply it and then be able to understand, how it all works within their practicality, and then, be able to help each other out and things like that. So, but yeah, it's good that the education side is huge for us. And, it's something that we're actually looking at being able to start teaching to other trainers in the industry. So that will be something that we'll be doing in the future. So, and having our trainers be able to teach other trainers, from our experience and our knowledge of what we think is the best way to go in terms of body composition. And, if you run into these speed bumps, this is what we do. And so we'll actually start going into being able to teach that to the rest of the industry, which is going to be really, really exciting. So that'll be down the road for us.
Yeah. Could you speak more broadly about actually managing those stuff? Like, because you've obviously got quite a large team. Do you have any trouble, especially with the way you want people to be trained, like your clients, I mean, and is there any sort of conflict with that? Like people might come to the table, trainers, I mean, might come to the table with their own sort of principles that they want to apply. Does it ever conflict with what?
No, I mean, we basically have sort of set principles that we all believe in. Mm-hmm. And from that, it's kind of, it can be trial and error because, some things may work better with clients than others. So, I will never sit here, if I'm not specifically training one of my staff's clients, I may not know the best way to train them because I don't know their mentality. I don't know what's going to motivate them. I don't know what's not going to motivate them. So as long as, we all sort of have an agreed principles, and then it's sort of just doing what you can to keep the client adherent and keep the client motivated within those principles. So it is quite flexible. I actually think it's one of the strengths of the business is everybody's able to come in and, try their way. And if it's not working, then we'll see it in the numbers straight away. And then it might come down to, hey guys, this isn't working. What do you think might be a better way to approach this client or this situation? So I like it to be a little bit flexible. Because I don't think in this industry there's a one size fits all. I think, it's going to come down to, as long as the principles are there, the main thing will be the client's adherence. And as long as the client can stick to the plan, then they're going to get results. So, and the way that a client will stick to a plan could be completely different from person A to person B. And you may, there's always more than one way to get a result. So, we generally, we are quite flexible. We just try to make sure, there's certain principles with food, certain principles with training that are always met. And from there, it's, we'll go through, and it's just as however the client or the trainer thinks that the client's going to be best motivated within those principles to get those results.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you actually you look over the numbers. Do you look over the numbers for all your clients? Not in great detail, but just to track how they're actually all progressing.
Yeah. So we actually all sit down, and every trainer will go through every single client that they have, and they'll go through the results from the last two, as I said, on the consulting packages where we check them in every 2 weeks.
Yep.
So we sit down weekly and we'll go through each client that's had their check-in and the results that they're getting, and if we're happy with the results or if there's something that needs to be changed and if there's anything. So everybody has a pretty good understanding of every single client within the gym, which I think creates a better culture as well. So, if somebody comes in to train a client, then there's other trainers in the gym that still have a general idea of where the client's at, how they're going, just because we speak about it in pretty good detail once a week.
Yeah.
So
what is it you actually really do to make sure clients are achieving their goals, and how is it different from what other gyms in the industry are doing?
Yeah, I think it comes down to understanding the client and setting plans that are tailored. And one thing that 5 or 6 years ago, I used to be, I know this way works, so every client's going to do it. And if the client couldn't do it, then it was to me, I was like, well, they can't do it. Now, in the last sort of 5 years, that's vastly changed in my mentality, and it's never been like that at the Physique Code, which I think is a strength of the Physique Code, is, we'll sit them down for an hour and a half before we start with them. And we sort of go through, have you tried to lose weight before? Have you tried to do what your goal is now before? And they say yes. And it's like, okay, what stopped you from getting the results last time? So, we'll sort of sit there and have a look at them and say, okay, cool. What can we do to combat what made you not be able to achieve your goal last time? So, we sit down, and it is very, very, very thorough. And every 2 weeks, as I said, it's not coming in and it's just saying, eat 1,200 calories and do this exercise and leave. We sit down with the client for half an hour every 2 weeks, and we'll go through and say, how's the food with your lifestyle? And the client will generally open up and start talking about, there could be, look, I've got these events and there's social pressures and things like that, which, is very, very common for people these days. And we will sort of sit there and try to work out ways, to make it better. And, it may not be the best way to get the fastest result, but it's going to be the way the client's going to adhere to and try and stick to the plan best. And I feel like, that's needed with a lot of people, because there is no perfect plan, and 99% of people can't stick to a perfect plan if there is. So we sort of, we'll make it very, very, very individualized for every single client, where we'll have some clients, for example, that will come through and we can give them the calories, the proteins, the carbs, the fats, and we let them make their own food. And they love doing that, and it works really well for them, and it gives them a lot of freedom. We have other people that come in that need the same thing every single day because they love routine, and we'll do it like that for them as well. So that's when I sort of go back and say, like with the systems and things like that with our training, is every single client we spend the time to do a little bit differently, just according to what's going to suit their lifestyle their best and what's going to be the best way to get them results. So I think that's something that I don't have a look around too much around the fitness industry, but for me, that's something that I probably don't see as much of. So I would maybe put it down to something like that.
So would you say you're more focused on having a client adhere to the end goal rather than just having a quick fix? Like, yeah, you you'll get that physique in 9 weeks or whatever, and then they might actually sort of not relapse, but like go back to poor habits or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's always going to differ because, like we said, if somebody's coming in and just saying, "Hey, look, I don't want to be 5% body fat. I just want to feel more confident and look the best I can," then we'll set up a structure that will help with their habits and get them eating in a way that will still allow them to go out and be sociable and have their life. And it's a slower process, but it's a lot more maintainable. But on the other hand, we may have clients that come in that say, I have a bodybuilding contest in 11 weeks and I need to be the best I can. So in that situation, we would be much more strict with them.
Yeah.
When we do that with people, though, what we do is we actually have a period where once the contest or photo shoot or wedding or whatever it is done, if they've had a little bit more of an aggressive training regime, then we sort of make sure they work with us for another 8 or 10 weeks minimum after. And then we sort of try to pull them back to the position they were in before, keeping them obviously in good shape, but try to start working on their behavioral issues with food and, just slowly create habits to get them back into their lifestyle where they don't just blow out and put on another 20 kilos,
right.
very, very quickly. So, yeah, again, it's case dependent, which I think is our strength.
Mm. So sort of going more to the business side of things, when I first spoke to you, I found it real interesting that you said you didn't put a great amount of effort into marketing, but you've got such a huge client base and it's really vibrant. But could you sort of touch on what it is that gave you that kind of growth?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, any service business that you do, you need to sell the best service you can and get the best results you can. So for us, that's what we just focused on. Is we didn't, spend a lot of time marketing and trying to get as many people in and at the start and say, yeah, let's get 100 people in and we'll do it for X amount of money and we'll charge them all this amount. And it starts to become a little bit more about numbers. And for us, we always, we have a genuine love for getting people their results. Like it's extremely satisfying for us because then, when the numbers and the goal is one thing, but like when you can see a client emotionally change when they get something that they didn't think they could achieve is probably one of the most powerful things in the world for us. We absolutely love it. So we've always just sort of kept our core value that is what we do first. We are trainers first and then sort of business people second. Now, from day one to now, our business has grown, but the results are just as good, if not better, as from having over 150 to 200 clients to having 20 clients. Right. And I think when you deliver a good service, then you'll find that word of mouth is there, retention is extremely high. Our client retention is extremely good. Word of mouth, referrals, things like that become really, really important for us. And it gets to the point where we don't have to actively go out and look for clients. I mean, we use Instagram a fair bit, posting photos of client results and things like that, which draw in a lot of clientele. Because at the end of the day, when people pay money, they pay money for the end result. So for us, we just sort of say we need to make what the service that we offer, we need to do it the best we can, and it will bring clientele in. And I mean, so far it's worked.
Yeah, so so even with Instagram, I guess it's basically fundamentally the same thing. It's just making sure that it's client orientated, so that people are actually seeing the results.
Yeah, I mean that's all we share, results, because that's the service that we offer. So that's what we're gonna market. We don't tell people, come in and just do a 12-week challenge. Like we don't do that. You say you want results, we sell results. So we have to make sure we show everybody. A mentor of mine had once said is do a really, really good job and then show everybody how good of a job you do. So that's sort of what we do. I mean, we focus on just getting results and then making sure we put it out to the public that, we do get really, really good results. And we've been lucky enough that when we share these things on social media platforms that, people message us and inquire to us and say, okay, cool, I want to look like that or I want to do that. And then obviously our retention is quite good. So when clients come in, they generally stay for long periods of time. So yeah, it's worked really, really well. We've been super lucky in that. And we love all of our clientele for giving out referrals and, telling people about how the results that we're getting and how much fun they're having and things like that. So we're super appreciative of our clients because they've basically built our business.
Yeah, so like they're the ones, like basically your marketing team, the ones that like spreading the word and everything.
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely, and that creates a better culture. And these are all things that we like. So we put a big focus onto that.
Yeah, you said as well though, like you've got a lot of clients that come from like all over, like the Perth metro region, like so. Even though you're south of the river, people come from north of the river as well. So do you think that's because of that sort of culture that you've created there?
Yeah, I believe so, and I believe it's also very results based. When people emotionally believe that you can get them the results that they want, they will travel for it because people really, you have to remember that looking a certain way has a lot to do with somebody's self. It's not everything, but it still has a fair bit to do with people's self-value, self-confidence, and things like that. So we attach with clients on an emotional level and potential clients on an emotional level. And I think when a client is invested emotionally, they're going to be more than happy to pay to travel just because, that's the results they value more than the travel time. And, just saying that coming from the metro area, I actually just checked this up this morning before the podcast, is we at the moment actively have 27 people that drive from Bunbury.
Right.
So that's a 1 hour, 45 minutes to come up for a half an hour check-in once a fortnight.
Yeah.
So, and that's just a credit where we've gotten great results with a few of the people down south. And then, they've gone back and said, look, we're doing really, really well. And, there's plenty of trainers in Bunbury, but, they see, okay, these guys actually do get results. I'm seeing it on people that I know. So I'm going to go there. So, yeah. And like I said, coming back to the customers, it's super, super cool that people will value our service enough to drive down and to make those trips. So yeah,
so it says a lot about, like, does it give you a good feeling seeing people come all the way just to...
You know what, it's incredible. Like sometimes Alice and I will sit back sometimes and just have a look and say, do you remember 3 years ago what we were doing? We were just sitting inside a commercial gym and we were just trying to get clients from inside the commercial gym and stuff, and it's like and just actually sit back and have a look at where it's at now, where we have a lot of online clients as well from every state in Australia. We have people in America. We have people in London that train with us online. We have, like I said, the people from Bunbury. We have people all the way up in Alkmaar and Joondalup that drive, over an hour. And it's just, it's fascinating. It's really humbling that people will do that. So again, like I say, we always are super, super appreciative of our clients for helping us grow our business and, be able to do what we do.
Yeah, right. I wasn't actually aware that you did online consulting. Yeah. So is that a big part of your business?
It's not huge. To be fair, we prefer to do it in person because there's less variables that we can control, obviously, online. But at the end of the day, we still get great results with clients online. So we will do it. We will offer that. But if the client is, it's not something where we actively say, look, let's try to get more online clients and less in-person clients. Like we still prefer the one-on-one, face-to-face clientele. But if there's a situation where we have to do it, then
you're more than happy to do that.
And we'll basically run it exactly the same. The only difference will be instead of having the fortnightly check-in in person, we will get them to do their own measurements, and then we jump on Skype or Zoom or Facebook Messenger or something like that, and we go through the exact same process, just via an online chat room. So it still works well. Not as well as in person, obviously, but that's always going to be the case. But yeah, so we still do that way and it still gets good results. So
yeah, right. I sort of wanted to go back to when you first started. What were some of the challenges you faced when you actually initially started in the commercial gym, and then we can sort of touch on when you actually got your own gym put together.
So our major issue was Alice and I were working at a different gym about maybe 1.5 kilometers away from each other. So I was in Melville and Alice was in Myrie. So that's about 1.5 kilometers, 5-minute drive. But it was getting hard for clients to, drive to one gym to see Alice, drive to another gym to see me. So from the get-go, that was always an issue that we wanted to get rectified. So we sort of always had the idea of the gym in the back of our head for that. And that was always going to be a big issue. And then from there, I think it wasn't as much with Alice. It was more of an issue with myself. Was we'd have clients that would want to do the personal training package, but the issue is they would train at their own gym wherever they train, but every time they would come to the commercial gym, obviously they're gonna have to pay a casual entry to the gym, and then the fees.
It's an extra expense.
Yeah, so people were paying an extra, if they wanted to train twice a week, they were gonna have to pay an extra, $20 or $40 a week and things like that, and that was getting. Clients were sort of getting, and understandably were like, oh, I don't want to do that. Yeah. So, so that was probably those were the two main hurdles I think that we had. And then, so we sort of just saved as much money as we could while doing that. And then, we had a lot of clients that didn't do personal training, and they were more than happy to do it either way. But yeah, and then so once we had opened up the facility, then a lot of those problems had
just sort of
they'd just gone away. And then we actually found that a lot of people that weren't doing personal training started doing personal training, because that was an issue that they didn't want to deal with, and so that was really good. So they were the major issues that we had, I think. Everything else was pretty smooth, even from a business point of view. Like we have an amazing accountant that basically took us step by step through absolutely everything. So we never had any issues there or anything like that. So, but yeah, I think when we first started, they were probably the two only major issues that we had.
Yeah. So, I mean, by actually getting your own gym, you did actually kind of fix that initial issue of having people. Did you ever have to push a few people away just because of that reason, because you were at two separate locations and things like that?
Well, we never pushed anyone away, but I think there was a few people that had said they wanted to do personal training, but they said, we're not going to do it because of this reason. So we knew it was affecting people. But at the same time, we also knew that we were going to get our own facility. So it was one of those things that was, sort of, let's do it this way for X amount of time. I think for a while, we actually tried to incorporate the casual entry fee into the packaging fees. Was a little bit better, but still probably wasn't as ideal as we wanted it to be. And then, yeah, as I said, that was sort of incentive for us to try to work harder to create, a better system that will work better for clients, so that we could, get the gym open as fast as we possibly could, because we knew that was going to, once that barrier was gone, we'd be able to rectify that, and a lot of the issues would go away, which they did, which was, really, really good.
Yeah, when you first opened your own gym, did you find that you did have that sort of like explosion of growth because you're picking up more?
I think, and my thing is, I think there's a lot of trainers. There's a lot of trainers within the fitness industry. And there's a lot of fantastic trainers, and then there's a lot of trainers that are still newer and still, finding their way. So, and I think, everybody is boxed into the commercial gyms. And I think what ends up happening is, if somebody has a bad experience at a gym, it doesn't necessarily rectify every trainer within that gym. But that's just sort of how the industry works. And it's like, people would start saying, oh, there's a trainer from this commercial gym. And it's like, when you have your own facility, I think it brought a little bit more professionalism to the business. Like, these guys have, grown out of the commercial gym setting, or, things like that. So we did actually get a lot more clientele coming through. And we also had, because we don't do memberships, it's personal training only, I think that was a huge, and this is something we didn't actually factor in or realize, but, and it was something we just learned on the way, was, the thought of being able to come into the gym and train when you're not surrounded by 500 other people, it was a huge motivator for a lot of people. So we actually got a bunch of clients coming through that were just nervous to go to commercial gyms.
So it was just like a self-conscious thing that didn't like being around a lot of people.
And I think, I knew that happened, but I think maybe we weren't as aware, like, of the extent of it.
Right.
Because we would get so many clients coming through that were just, I've always wanted to go to the gym, and I've just been nervous because there's so many people around and things like that. And that solved a problem for people that, we didn't realize was that big of a problem, but it was, and we solved it. And we actually got a super large clientele for personal training for that reason. So that was really cool as well. So being able to solve people's problems when we didn't even know
so
at the start that they had that problem.
Yeah, it was a bit of an eye opener.
Yeah, which is good. So that's something that nowadays when we put something on social media or whatever, we always make sure we advertise this. It is a private gym. You will have, you don't have to deal with 100 people coming around and being intimidated, because everyone in there is there for the same. Everyone's there for the same goal. Everyone's there for the same result. So everybody sort of, claps and cheers each other on when they do well. And, we'll set up a Facebook group where the clients can all interact and chat. And, people start to become friends and things like that. And everybody sort of cheers on each other's goals. So it's really good. And it's sort of that type of clientele, it's been the best thing for them, because they've been able to work out and, have people there motivating them instead of feeling intimidated in a gym. So yeah.
So because you said you got such a high retention rate, do you find that people end up becoming like a family in that sense? Like you're training together and you're like around each other a lot?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and like some people will train in the morning and some people will train at night. They never see each other, but they may see each other from the advertising on social media when we post pictures, right. And it'll all be great job and things like that, and so people, even if they don't know each other, they know about them, which is, good enough. That's quite good and it does create that culture, and people supporting each other. And I think once you have that, the retention becomes a lot better as well, because, as you said, people do feel like they're part of a family, and you don't want to leave that family. It makes you feel good. It's good when everyone supports each other and things like that. So it is incentive for the clients to stay. And then, when they do feel like that, they're more likely to be adherent to the programs and the plans. And then, it's a twofold effect. For the results are going to get better because they're excited, they're happy, they've got a positive affirmation with training and nutrition, and then the results get better. And then, obviously that goes off and, they tell people that they're enjoying it and they're getting the results they want, and that brings more people in. And then, so it's been good. Yeah.
Mm. So, what would you say is the highlight of your career so far? Like we'll sort of keep it to the Physique Code, like, so over the last 3 or so years that the business has been going.
I think there's been a few. I think I had one of my best friends. We prepared for a bodybuilding competition last year, and he came second or third. And then about 3 months ago, we went over to Sydney to the national titles, and he won the entire show. Wow. He's one of my best friends. So that to me was, now on a personal level, that was really good for me. That made me excited. And I think the other thing, from the business point of view, would be 10 years ago, I used to go on the internet and read articles from people and try to learn stuff and follow the Facebook pages and things like that. And next weekend, we're having the Renaissance Periodization seminar at our gym. And, and this was just the other day, I was thinking about it. And I was like, it's really cool because these people that, I've admired for 10 years and things like that, I now am able to network with. And it's come down to the fact that, it's all the little things that have made that happen. We've been able to be recognized as one of the leaders in the industry for the results that we get. And we have our own facility because of that. And, that's allowed us to network with these top end people in the world and, have them come over to our facility. And, it's mind blowing for me to sit there and have somebody that I've idolized for 10 years inside my gym lecturing.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that, I get. Obviously, it takes a lot to set it up and build it up, and I'm quite busy doing all of that. But then, yesterday I was sort of sitting back and looking at it and saying, this is incredible. I'm having my idols for the last decade inside my gym teaching Perth, the industry. And I think being able to do that and being able to see where I was 10 years ago and then see what we're able to do now, I think has been incredible. And it's, without the Physique Code, without the facility, without the results, without the client adherence, without, everything, it's everything all bundled up into one. It's allowed something like that to happen. So I think that's one of the highlights as well, being able to, network and learn off of people that, I've admired for that long.
Yeah. So do you still find you're still learning from those people that you admire?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every single day. I sit on online courses, podcasts that my mentors do to, a lot of them I'm actually do Skype calls with now and chat to. And, I have questions that are within my business that I say, I don't know how to handle this. And I'll be able to go and ask these people that, have done it plus more. And, they'll sort of have an outsider's point of view and say, maybe you should try doing this or maybe. And it's just, so I'm constantly doing that. Just, being able to go back from these people. And it's just the difference now is instead of reading their articles online, I'm able to read their articles online and I'm able to call them up on Skype and say, hey, what do I do for this specific situation? So yeah, absolutely. Every single day we're still learning. I think if you don't, then you're going to get left behind because the industry changes so rapidly and there's so much new information coming out in order to get results. And I think if you don't study, then you do get left behind. So it doesn't matter if you're a beginner trainer or, you're one of the top trainers in the world. I think you have to do it. And I think if you look at the best trainers around, there's a pretty common trend with that. They all continually study. And I think, success leaves clues. So I think it's something that needs to be done. That's a non-negotiable in this industry.
Right. So we're sort of getting to the end of it now. If you were to go back to when you actually first started, is there anything you would do differently, and if so, why?
I would have studied more when I was younger. I started this job quite young. I came in with a little bit of a hero mentality. That I came in thinking I knew a little bit, and I thought I knew a lot. And I think it was until I came in and started opening up my mindset and, learning new things and applying new things that I sort of realized whoa, I can be way better than I was. And I think it took me probably 5 years before I got to that point. And I think if I could go back from where I started, I would have started that much earlier. And I think I probably would have been a better trainer now than if I didn't do that. But in saying that, in terms of the Physique Code as a business, we're not businessy people. We're trainers that run a business basically. So I think we've learned everything on the job as we've gone. So, and I think we've done quite a good job of it. The business is quite successful, and I'm sure we're always learning new things every day. Whether it's systems with the business, whether it's client results, whether it's tax, whether it's facility management or things like that. We're sort of learning on the job. So what I've learned now, I'm sure in a year's time, I'm gonna look back at where I am right now and say, oh, you should have done this or you should have done that. But I think that's a good thing. So. Yeah. So
just being aware of those things, like looking back
and just being open to, if there's a better way to do it, try it. Yeah. Whereas I think, but yeah, besides that, I wouldn't think we have too much we change. Our packaging, our values, and everything like that have been the same since day one. So we're super proud that we've managed to keep that how it is, and within the future, I have no doubt that we'll keep doing the same thing.
Yeah. Well, just on that, what kind of plans do you have for the future of the Physique Code?
Well, we were actually chatting about this in a meeting a couple of days ago, and we're sort of, we have a couple avenues. Like we have the education avenue that we are in the process of getting ready at the moment. The systems of the consulting and the way that we package the training, we're quite happy with at the moment. So I think it's going to be just a matter of building on that. And being able to do exactly what we do now, but do it on a broader scale. So, and if that means that we have to have more trainers come on to help more people, cool, so be it. If that means we have to have a bigger facility, then cool, so be it. So I know those are things that we will, in the short to medium term, have to do. So I think we're sort of looking at it on that sort of perspective from the actual facility and the services of training. It's just going to be expanding on what we're already doing right now, and then we will sort of start adding the education and things like that once we get it perfect. We're still we've got it done. We want to perfect it before we bring it out. Yeah. So we don't, like I said earlier, we don't want to put something out that we think if we put it out and it's 80% good, we're not going to be happy, sort of thing. So we're sort of perfecting it to the point where, I'm confident, and Alice is confident, that anyone that comes in is going to get exactly out of it what we intended them to get out of it. So once we have that done, and that'll be a short-term goal for us to get all that finished off, and then we'll start kicking off the education courses on how to make people look better, and go through everything: training, nutrition, measuring, to psychology of clients, to business, like how to package it. So we'll be running all that, which will be quite exciting. But in terms of the actual gym, like I said, we will be in the short term having to move to a bigger facility, and as more clientele come on board, then we'll have to have more trainers coming in, and I'm sure I'll learn. The more trainers we have, the more staff management we're going to have to do, and I'll probably end up doing a little bit less of the training, and Alice will end up doing a little bit less of the nutrition, and
you sort of have to take on a more of a managerial position, to see everything.
Yeah, and we do that a fair bit now, but I think we definitely do it more than we used to. But like I said, we're still trainers, so we still love, we will never give up the training of people. Yeah, it'll just be probably, priorities of how much we do training to how much we do, managerial side of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think, that's where we're sort of heading now in the future. We want to continue what we're doing on a broader scale, because we're super happy with the results, and the clientele seem to be super happy with the results. And, by setting up the education courses, hopefully we can help other trainers do what we do, and help their businesses become successful. And once that happens, we can end up getting more people the results that they want, which would be that's what the industry needs.
So in other words, you're sort of trying to just manage your own growth, so that as you get more clients, you get more trainers, and you get more managers, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
I mean, we've always got our trainers based on a needs basis. The first staff member that we hired was because I couldn't do anymore, and the first nutritionist that we hired is because Alice couldn't do anymore. And then once they were filled up, and we said, okay, we need to bring somebody else on. And then so that's basically how we've structured our hiring processes. Is we just bring people on as needed. But yeah, so it's we'll continue to do that, and continue to make sure that the trainers and nutritionists that we have are doing a fantastic job and are getting the results for people, and we can't ask for any more than that. So
brilliant. So we've come to the end of the episode, but before we clock off, is there any final words of wisdom you have for us?
Any final words of wisdom? For trainers, or for the business?
For the business, or just we'll say for the business.
Okay, for the business, I think trainers, in terms of personal training businesses, trainers need to focus on delivering a good service before bringing in as many clients as they possibly can. And I understand that there's many ways to do things, but at the end of the day, in our opinion, is that you sell results. That's what all personal trainers do. So having lots of people in, but you are unable to get those results, is going to lead to poor client retention, and you're going to have to continually get new clients in. So I like to say, always focus on being able to get the best results that you possibly can. When you're able to do that, the business grows. And I think then when you start marketing a little bit more, you're marketing the right things, you're marketing results, and people trust in your business a lot more. And I think that's the way to, grow an honest business in the fitness industry that's successful long term. So that would be my number one piece of advice. And make sure you're insured.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of trainers aren't insured, so make sure you're insured for if you're giving out diet plans, make sure you're insured for diets. If you're giving out nutrition training programs, make sure you're insured for all those sort of things. So that's just a little one in there, because a lot of people aren't that, so we want to make sure that everybody's working within their scope of practice. But yeah, in terms of the business, just make sure you can deliver what you promise.
Brilliant. That's good a word as any.
Yeah, short and simple.
Thanks for coming, Richard.
No problems. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.